Hi everyone, my name is Heather and I'm with Iowa Yorkie Babies. And today we're going to talk about the differences between the male and the female Yorkie. I kind of feel like there's a little bit of misconceptions or maybe some myths around both the male and female Yorkie. So today we're just going to talk about them. So as a breeder, I get a lot of comments and maybe what I feel like are just general ideas of what people expect when they adopt maybe a male or a female Yorkie. And so we're going to start with those. I think the common maybe illusion around adopting a female Yorkie is that you are going to get this teeny tiny, sweet, little precious girl. And I guess in a way that's true. You are going to get a little female. But most people assume that because the puppy is a female, that she's going to be sweet and super affectionate, and that they're just going to get this little baby doll that they can dress up. And you can dress them up. That is a true statement. But I guess owning many females myself, I can honestly say with some experience that my females tend to be a little bit sassy and hold a grudge and have a lot of attitude. And I say that with the most love and most adoring and endearing heart of a mother. I absolutely adore my Yorkie girls. They make me laugh every day. I truly love them and their personality. But what I don't get is what I kind of thought I was getting, when I adopted a Yorkie. I thought I would get this lap dog that would sit with me for hours, and I do get that sometimes, but it definitely is 1,000% on their terms. Um, let me give you an example, okay? And this is a great example of the female Yorkie attitude. If you have watched any of my videos regarding our Yorkies, you know about Amaya. Amaya was my first Yorkie. She really saved me mentally, and she really was exactly what I needed when I needed it. This girl is just really my heart dog. She knows it, but she definitely is queen bee around here, and she knows it. So we adopted our Ukrainian imports, so Bowie, Kaya, Moxie, Murphy, and she was mad. She was mad, okay? The girl would not speak to me. She was very upset with me about our Ukrainian import Yorkies. And so what did she do? She peed right in the middle of my bed, right dead center of my bed. And she has an attitude, but she's not the only one. Haley makes sure that she knows that everybody around her knows that she's the boss. She's 4 pounds of boss lady. And, Maddie, she's the same way. Monkey also, she's about 4 pounds. They all think they're the boss, the girls. They boss the boys around. They boss the big dogs around. They're the bosses. And they all like you to know that they're the boss. So they are very loving when they want to be. But they don't want anybody else to get attention either. Okay, so they have some attitude, and I think a lot of people think that, oh, they're so sweet and they're so loving, and they are when they want to be. But don't make them angry, because you're gonna know that they're upset with you. Okay, and then you have the boys who never get upset about anything, like ever. I mean, the only time I've ever seen them upset is with each other, the boys, and that's when someone's in heat and they think they're getting too close to their girlfriend. But if they were neutered males, I don't know if they would ever get upset about anything. I don't think I've seen ever the boys upset about anything. So I think that's probably the number one misconception that I see, is that the girls are so sweet and so loving, and and that the boys are, maybe not that, when really it's the exact opposite. The boys are so loving and so kind and so sweet, And if I were to put Bowie or Capone, which are my boys, if I were to put them on my lap and not move for hours, those boys would not move for hours. Like they would just sit there and lay down. And and when I, like, let's say for example I go on vacation, Amaya especially, she's my sassy girl for sure. If I am showing any of the other dogs attention, Amaya won't even come up to me because how dare I? And I do mean that's her attitude. How dare I pay attention to anybody else but her, because I've been gone for, 4 or 5 days and she's the only one that matters. But, Bowie and Capone, they're always happy to see me, no matter if I've been gone for 5 minutes or 5 days. But Amaya completely acts put off by me. Like, you can't speak to those other dogs because I'm the only one that matters, Mom. My employee, I wonder if it's in here. Let me see. I'm not sure where it is. She bought me a picture. It's a Yorkie with a crown. It says Queen of Everything. It's going into Maya's bedroom. Yes, she has her own bedroom because she truly is the Queen of Everything. And we all treat her that way because that's how she acts. I mean, it truly is pathetic how we all bow down to her and cater to her because that's how she acts. And so we all oblige. And it's probably our fault because we do it. But so I would say that's probably the number one misconception that I see when people ask for, they want a female, and it's because they want that loving, genuine personality that that will sit on the couch with them for hours and hours. Okay, so if you want a dog that will sit on the couch with you for hours and hours, this is me telling you honestly, you want a male. And it is because the girls hold a grudge, and not that they aren't loving and kind, because they are, but the girls will hold a grudge, and they do have quite the attitude. And I don't think a lot of people who have never owned a Yorkie know that about them. So that's one thing. Another thing that people, I think, automatically assume about boys is that they're going to mark all over, which is true if you do not neuter them. Like, for example, Capone and Bowie, they do mark. And it's because they are intact males who breed. So if I were to have gotten Bowie and Capone neutered at like 10 or 11 months before they started to peak in testosterone, my boys would have never marked. They would have never lifted their leg. And that is because they would have had no one to show them what to do or how to do that. So if you were to adopt a male, for example, and get them neutered at the age appropriate time, they would not mark, and they wouldn't even know how to lift their leg unless there was another dog to show them how to do that. They would permanently squat like the puppies do right now. So I think that's two things that people who have never owned a male or female Yorkie but really want one, they automatically assume, oh, I want a female, because number one, they think they're going to be smaller, which isn't true. A lot of times, like for example, when we breed, our females have to be larger than the males, and that's to keep the mother safe. So all of our females weigh more than our males. Always. Always, always. A good breeder will make sure that their females weigh more than the males. So therefore, a lot of times, the female puppies will end up weighing more than the males. And that's good breeding. That's just how it has to be. Otherwise, you jeopardize the mother's life as well as the puppies. And that is true in any small breed. And so, of course, every once in a while, you will have a female puppy that's charting smaller, especially like in larger litters. But 9 times out of 10, the males actually are going to chart smaller than the females. If you go back to like past litters, even of ours, our female puppies are going to chart larger than our male puppies. And so people assume in any breed, like in large breeds, typically your females do chart to be smaller than the males. And that's because in large breeds, it can't be that way. The males just are larger than the females, and so that's how they're bred. But in small breeds, the female has to be larger than the male to keep the mother safe. I mean, there are all kinds of bad complications and life-threatening things that happen if you breed a larger male to a smaller female. For example, if you bred a 9-pound Yorkie to a 4-pound female, if you bred a 9-pound male to a 4-pound female, the female could die in labor and delivery. It would be awful. So like in our case, our females are usually 6 to 7 pounds and our males are 5 and 5.5 pounds. So our boy puppies almost always chart smaller. And that should be true in every breeder. If the breeder is responsible, that should be true in every case. So a lot of times our male puppies are smaller than our females. So, like I said, if you go back throughout our history of our puppies, that's almost always true. Not always, but almost always. So, that's also usually a myth that people buy into, that female puppies are smaller than males, but that's not always the case. So, I just kind of wanted to kind of give you guys like a broad spectrum of male versus female personality, because I think it's always interesting if people haven't owned a Yorkie before, or even if you have, you kind of get used to, oh, I've always owned a female or I've always owned a male. And so you think, well, because I've owned a female or because I've owned a male before, I want to continue to own that gender. And sometimes it's kind of nice to kind of get outside of that comfort zone and try something new. So if you've owned a female before, maybe try a male, or if you've owned a male before, maybe you want to try a female this time and see what you think of the other side. It's always interesting. There's a lot of similarities between the two, obviously. They usually tend to gravitate towards one person with the females, and with the males, they kind of love everybody. So that's kind of nice about the males. But if you are like a one-person household, maybe you live by yourself, maybe you want to gravitate more towards that female. So that's kind of nice. But if you have like a family situation, maybe you want to gravitate towards the male. So they kind of gravitate towards everybody and maybe not so possessive of one person. So yeah, there's so much information out there about Yorkies. And if you don't know, maybe ask somebody who's owned a Yorkie. And of course, I'll always be happy to answer any questions for you. There's just so much information out there. And it's always good to talk to someone who's owned several. And if you have any questions, let me know. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe below. I'm always happy to answer questions. And thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.